We have a lot of different ways that we can develop vivid language, and I want to look at a few of those different tools. The first is using a metaphor or an analogy. And what we're trying to do with a metaphor or analogy is create a comparison. That comparison helps in explaining things, so it helps with our audience's understanding. As I mentioned before, vivid language can aid in comprehension, but the comparison also allows us to bring in language that we might not otherwise be able to bring in, and that adds that extra little bit of spice. There's a great video that talks about Saturn's ring system and how scientists had discovered this massive ring extending far out from Saturn. And the presenter wanted to talk about what this ring represented, and to do that, he used the metaphor of the Lord of the Rings. And so this massive infrared ring that the speaker wanted to focus on was referred to as the One Ring from the Lord of the Rings. And that not only helped explain what was going on in Saturn's ring system, but it brought in that great language of the Lord of the Rings to add that extra bit of life to the presentation. Another option for creating vivid language is to use alliteration. And this is where you use words that start with the same sound and use a lot of them. And what happens is that little turn of language catches the audience's attention. And it's very poetic. And so, for an example, we could say something like, since September 11th, 2001, we have been swimming in a sea of uncertainty. Obviously, the S sound is the one that's being used for alliteration here. And so we've got emphasis on a key idea, and we've got this kind of poetic turn of phrase. And then a final option that I want to focus on is called personification. And this is where we give human characteristics to things that typically would not be associated with those characteristics. And so there's a really cool video, again from the science world, that talks about the melting and redevelopment of ice formations along the Arctic. And the speaker talks about this imagery as showing the Earth breathing. And so in this case, the Earth's breathing is a personification. The Earth obviously is not really breathing when the ice forms and then melts away, but it's using this idea of breathing to help explain what's going on and to characterize the imagery.